What do you call modern medicine now? See, we have an idea, anything modern must come from America or the West. Otherwise it's not modern. That is not the meaning of the word modernity. Modernity should come from our antiquity. We improve our antiquity and become modern. That's the idea. I'll give you one example in this context before I forget. Lot of work has been done on Ayurvedic drugs, homeopathic drugs, based on the Western model of reductionism. Now, for example, you want to study something in Ayurveda. Even the government of India was at that time sponsoring what's called a golden triangle method. That is, this drug helps this disease, so you don't have to search for it. You take the Ayurvedic drug, find out what chemical it has got. That's what these chemists mostly think. The chemical is the most important thing. And take the chemical out and then study it. I had written to the then Director General, whose baby it was, that this won't work because it is not the bits that make the whole. Remember that? If you now understand quantum physics, it's the interconnectedness that makes the whole. When you don't have the interconnectedness, nothing works. For example, garlic. Come, madam. Morning. Yeah. Yes. The bits do not have the properties of the whole. Give an example. There are 42 studies on garlic pearls. At the end of which, the British Medical Journal editor wrote an editorial. Garlic is good for cooking, but not for as a medicine. So I wrote to her, Fiona, you have not done any studies on garlic. What you have done studies is garlic pearls. Good boy. What you have done is, sulfhydryl group. So you take the SH group and make the garlic into a pearl. So it's good for the germs for their health in the toilet. It will go directly out as nothing. I wrote to her, if you want to do studies on garlic, you must have garlic, take it in the mouth, munch it for half a minute, 2 minutes. Then it becomes the alanine in garlic gets mixed with the trypsin in the saliva and becomes allicin. And allicin is a medicine. So some young scientists in Tata Institute of Fundamental Research caught up with this paper and they did something phenomenal. Brahmi, Brahmi ek patta? So they said, lot of work has been done on Brahmi's extracts, nothing happened. These boys made a chutney out of Brahmi, which my grandmother used to do before I went for the exam, and she used to give it. It was good for memory, she used to say. When I went to the medical school and got my degree and all, I thought, my grandmother is a bloody fool. What does she know about it? That's what we think, the Western thoughts. Anyway, these boys did that and fed a group of rats. Within 6 months, the rats became so brilliant, they could get out of any maze. They killed the rat. And what they found was the hippocampus major, the area of the brain which is for memory. Mind you, the mind is not in the brain, but the memory is in the brain. And that has become 3 times its normal size. And when they cut open the hippocampus major, they found the cells were hyperactive. So this paper you must read. It's so beautiful a paper done by this. And they got a crore of grant also from the granting agency. Usually the grants are not coming for this kind of studies. So it is not the bits and pieces that make the thing, it's the whole that makes the thing. That's the essence of Ayurveda and the essence of everything. Western medicine only follows reductionism. You take a chemical, a part of it, and do what is called RCT, randomized control trials, and which we think is the basis of all our scientific medicine, quote unquote, scientific medicine. What is the science of it? I will come to that later. So this is the difference. So modernity should come from our antiquity. There's an old saying in Latin, respici to prospici. If you want to look forwards, you will look backwards. Even throwing a javelin throw, you don't throw like this, it won't go far. Take it back and throw it, it will go very far. So go back to our ancient wisdom. Everything that is in the modern science now, I'm not talking the conventional dead Western science of physics, chemistry and biology. The modern evolutionary science, evolutionary biology, systems biology, which comes to Ayurveda. Quantum physics. Quantum physics has almost come to Advaita. And quantum physics has now revolutionized scientific look at what we do. Come back, as so beautifully put by Max Planck, there is no perception without a perceiver. Let us say, I do work on a rat or a dog and say it is science. If you do on the same rat work, the results will be 40% difference. If a woman does work on the rat and a man does work on the same rat, difference can be 20 to 60%. If you change your pheromone, you just put on a nice scent, whole body you bathe with a very expensive scent and go and do the work, it will be different. The rat has a perception. You have a perception. You have a consciousness, rat has a consciousness, and they interact, and the results are totally different. This is very interesting. This shows that all our Western scientific reductionist studies are not true, which is being proved one by one. Like, for example, Karthikeyan was talking about cholesterol. I said cholesterol cannot be a disease for the simple reason that if you try to lower your cholesterol, the body will produce more cholesterol. If you try to stop the cholesterol being made, because 90% of the cholesterol is made in your liver, because for your good, let us say you live a very high-fly life on the edge of it. You know, you are running after money, you are running after power, you are running after chair. I always tell people, Indians are Pita Jnanis. They may not be Jnana Pitas, but they are Pita Jnanis. They know how to sit in the chair and how to get someone out of the chair and occupy the chair. Now come to that level of what is happening now is, we run a life which is full of stress. I want to destroy somebody. I want to take him off that chair and sit there. All this will make you very, very tense. And to save you at that time, to produce more steroids to keep you going, you require more cholesterol. If you don't have cholesterol, you can't make steroid hormones. So body makes more cholesterol for your own good. Otherwise, what you eat, whether you eat grass or you eat beef every 3 times a day, it doesn't matter, because 10% of the cholesterol comes from the food. Actually, in 1960, late 60s, we had a BBC big debate on cholesterol. There was one lady, she had a big diary. She gave a challenge to everybody on the television. She said, whatever is your cholesterol level, come to me. I'll give you milk in the morning, milk in the afternoon, milk at night, and get your cholesterol down. At that time, I thought she was foolish, but now I know she is right, because if you feed more cholesterol from outside, your body will produce less cholesterol. See, that's what's called the body's intelligence. Now anyway, I'm very happy that recently, not recently, 3 years ago, the American government, the USDA, which once in 5 years it gives its pronouncement, saying that cholesterol is not a disease, so you must eat better and you must eat more. And they said eggs, bacon and ham are probably the ideal breakfast rather than eating all that junk that you have today. Now this U-turn came after millions of people have suffered from cholesterol lowering drugs. So let us not in the first place ape everything that is the Western one and think it is modern, and then you call it as a modern science. Now how did science become science? Medicine become a science? You know the story? Well, in Europe, so-called modern medicine today started 5,000 years ago as mumbo-jumbo, witchcraft and sorcery on the Nile Valley. It moved from there, went to Arabia. And one man who changed the course of so-called modern medicine today was Ibn Sina, who the Americans call as Avicenna. Avicenna is not his name, he is Ibn Sina. And Ibn Sina had added a lot of sense into the so-called witchcraft of the modern medicine. Then it went to Greece. Greece, of course, it had the influence of Hippocrates and others in Greece. And from then it moved on. And in Europe, 12th century, all churches, most churches became universities overnight. That's why today the gown that you wear for the convocation, the vice chancellor, chancellor, deacon, rector, these are all church terminologies and they have nothing to do with education. They are ecumenical terminologies. So these universities accepted medicine as science. So one fine morning, you become science. You understand that? That's the definition. But surgery was not accepted as science. Up until 1572, when the Royal College of Surgeons of England started, they were called barber surgeons. Even today in the West, when you pass your FRCS, you're not called a doctor, you're called Mr. Or if you're a girl, you're called Miss. And that continues even to this day, because British are a great tradition and they believe in their tradition. So you are a barber surgeon. So surgery was not science at all. How did medicine become a science in America? Of course, these Europeans moved on to the New World when the New World was discovered, thanks to India, because Columbus went in search of Indian spices and lost his way and went somewhere and then got that beautiful land for them. So they should be eternally grateful to us for getting that beautiful land, large land, 4 times the mass of India and 1/3 the population of India. So they're really enjoying life at our cost. Because he said, yeah, that's why the Indians are called Indians. Because he said, they're Indians. He was in Cuba. But he thought he was in probably Calicut.